This is the Big Machine Cody Hawkins, and you're watching WGS-TV.
Hi everybody, it's WV Billy Boudreaux, and this is the Chris Jericho Report. The ongoing report to try to give, get some insight as to the direction of Chris Jericho's character in the WWE as of late. But I'm not here by myself. I got a few people I want to intro. First, he has a blog called the Rick Starr Blog Splash on eWrestling News. Rick Starr, Rick, thanks for stopping by.
Hey, I do what I can, but right now I got a couple guys smoking a joint with me, so hey, why not stop by if I fuck up? Well, I think I already did fuck up, but why not? On with the show. We
also got Chris Rogers from Rockin' Ways 11294. Chris, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well, just hanging back and enjoying hearing Rick get hot. So, it's always a fun time.
We also have that crazy limey from the UK. It's Andy. Andy, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Well, let's get to work on what Chris Jericho did or didn't do. And Nathan is here too. I didn't think you were here. But let's go ahead.
He's been talking for the past 15 minutes.
Well, let's get to.
What's going on, Nathan?
Yeah, Nathan, how you doing? Well, let's take a look at what Chris Jericho did tonight on Monday Night Raw, everyone, shall we? The first thing we saw him on tonight was the segment earlier tonight where John Laurinaitis announces that the main event tag match, which was originally scheduled to be Daniel Bryan and CM Punk versus Mark Henry and Dolph Ziggler, gets changed to a six-man tag match. It was going to be David Otunga, Mark Henry, and Dolph Ziggler taking on CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and Chris Jericho. And Chris Jericho's only response to what John Laurinaitis said in that segment was for him to turn off the lights, light up his jacket, and spread his arms out.
I think he's trying to spread his armpit smell.
Rick, the way I'm kind of looking at it is, we've seen Chris Jericho over the past 3 weeks, but yet we haven't heard him say actually anything in a promo. How long are they going to keep doing this with Jericho?
Well, the man you really want to talk about that is I'm going to give it over to Andy because he's the one who said it from the beginning. Andy, over to you.
I don't think we can hear nothing from Chris Jericho until the time is right for the WWE to make it right. I called it this week, I called it the week before. I don't see him doing anything. We've all said tonight I can't see him turning up next week at all. I think the only time we'll see him, I'm not even sure if he's in the Royal Rumble. If he isn't, I can't even see him turn up for the Royal Rumble either. But if he's in there, then obviously he'll turn up. But whether he'll have any active role.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's just, it's getting really bad to the point now where, I don't know, I was hoping he was going to do what The Rock wasn't doing, nothing, and that's apparently what he is doing now, nothing, and it's getting pretty pathetic. So,
the only thing is, if they're bringing him back as a heel, it's going to start working well, because at the moment people are still cheering every time he comes out. If he does it for the next couple of weeks and doesn't say a word, people are going to start booing, and then he's won the battle, basically. He's then come back as a really good heel. No. So in a way, it's a good way of bringing him back, because he's going to come out and the crowd are just going to be disinterested in anything he's got to say, if he says anything. And that's the ideal heel. Where people are just
go ahead.
Chanting and booing over the top while he's trying to speak. I think that's the persona he's going for.
Now,
the only thing, I don't know if any of you guys have noticed, when he came out in his ring attire tonight, when he was a face, he wore shorts. When he was a heel, he wore long trousers. He's got shorts on.
Well, he also wore the long shorts. The shorts on when he was a heel. I mean, he kept that on as a part of his gimmick. Even though he went from save us to save me, he still kept the shorts. He didn't change.
But the thing, though, is even tonight, what he did was very much a heel move. What did he do? Nothing.
Well, let's talk about what he did tonight. Let's talk about that. When he came out, made his entrance, he was, the usual Jericho, what we saw from when he made his return. Like, yeah, come on!
Yeah!
And he was high-fiving everybody. He was actually taking other people's cameras and taking pictures of them in the audience when they want to take pictures with him. And then when they went to commercial break, and when they came back, he was still doing it. And in fact, if I can reference what Jerry Lawler said, he said that, he was like going around the ring about 4 or 5 times during the commercial break, actually interacting with the audience like that. But now we come to the point in the match. He's on the ring apron, and the entire time he was there, he was trying to, fire up the audience, say, yeah, come on. And lo and behold, he makes the tag, and then he does kind of like what he did in the week 1. He was pointing to the crowd, kind of like doing what Hulk Hogan used to do. He pointed to the crowd, that section of the crowd cheers, and so on and so forth. And then he tags Daniel Bryan and leaves. And you would think, when him doing that kind of a heelish move, the smile would kind of disappear. But this is what's really odd. The smile did not disappear as Jericho was leaving. And Rick, I don't know about you, but the way that he's going with this gimmick, it's kind of making him look a little creepy.
Not creepy. He's obviously mocking, being very mawkish. He wants to keep the people guessing, and that's the way he's always been. He's not happy until he's on top of everything. He wants to, he's always considered, us, quote unquote, sycophants, because he's always thought of us, even when no matter where he's been as a heel, even or on or off the camera, he's always said, hey, you guys don't know what you're talking about, and this is exactly what he wants. He pumped up the crowd, but the funny thing is I knew he was going to leave before he pumped us up, because I knew he was going to do nothing. I'm like, yep, here it comes. Yep, pump. And I said, yeah, tag, walk out. And he was smiling. I'm like, yeah, Jericho, well done. And it was obvious.
Nathan, what was your reaction to what Chris Jericho did tonight?
Same old. I mean, he's doing his typical Chris Jericho comeback thing, where he came back and he knew that the second he entered that ring, everybody was going to love him. But I think what it is they're setting him up for a rivalry with CM Punk. Well, you can't take CM Punk and Chris Jericho, both faces, and throw them in a rivalry together. You have to have that heel. Both are great heels, but who do you want to have the heel in this one? Well, right now you've got CM Punk cemented as one of the top faces in Raw. You need a heel for Raw, so you throw Chris Jericho in that. What's the best way for him to do that? He comes in, he doesn't say anything for a couple weeks. I'm not even sure he's going to show up next week just to kind of piss people off. He'll come in, win the Royal Rumble, and then, bam, turn around and start talking shit on all the fucking fans again. So, I mean, he's already pissing the fans off and already setting himself up for that really nice heel turn that he does. But, I mean, it's typical Chris Jericho comeback.
Andy, your thoughts on what Jericho did tonight?
I just think he's selling the gimmick that he's trying to go with. And like I've said before, I don't think he's going to let it up anytime soon. Not until he has to anyway. I think he's just going to carry on and on and on and just get under people's skin, pretty much like the general manager.
And Chris, what about you?
I'm not really surprised about Jericho doing what he did tonight. Basically, because of the fact that, like everyone else said, he's doing the same thing that he did last time. So, really, I don't think we're going to hear from him until maybe, and this is a big maybe, after the Royal Rumble. I'm pretty positive we'll hear from him after WrestleMania.
Last thing I want to ask you guys on this video and in this week's Chris Jericho Report, do you guys still feel that there is a she part to this gimmick, and then we're not going to hear anything out of Jericho or see Jericho do anything until this she part of the gimmick shows up? Rick, I want to start with you.
The she part, possibly. If there is any kind of a she role, I'm not expecting anything to happen until after the Royal Rumble. Most certainly, I'm not expecting Jericho to say anything until after the Royal Rumble. If Jericho doesn't start talking immediately after the Royal Rumble, I'm going to be really upset. That's what it's gonna be. Okay, I'm bored. You know, it's like move on. I'm already bored as it is, to be honest with you. But I'm willing to stretch it to the Royal Rumble because Royal Rumble's 2 weeks away. If he just doesn't show up for 1 week, fine. But I'm hoping he speaks before the Rumble. But whatever. You know, he needs to say why he's here. And if he just all of a sudden shows up in the Rumble and wins it, does anybody not see something wrong with that?
Yeah, I could kind of see something wrong with that because right now we're just getting, absolutely no direction at all as to Chris Jericho's gimmick right now. I mean, we speculated ever since we started, the It Begins promos and started making those videos on those, as to what direction Chris Jericho's character was going to go.
But my question is, what about other wrestlers who've earned that spot? Why should Jericho come back and all of a sudden win it? That's my question. Do you think he's earned that spot?
To be honest with you, Jericho's name, even though he hasn't been really involved in the WWE as of late, his name still has, a presence in the WWE, if you could kind of call it that. I mean, when people see Chris Jericho's name, they know who this person is, and they know this person can perform on a top, at that level that he needs to perform at, whether they're putting a championship on him or not. But, as far as, like I said, we have, until we have like a good direction as to where Jericho's character is going at the moment, it's really hard to say. I hope I was able to, I hope that wasn't a confusing answer. I was trying to, work my way through it.
No, not at all. I kind of threw 2 questions at you, so I apologize.
That's cool, man. It's cool. That's what I'm here for, too. I mean, it's just, it's not just me here giving my thoughts on the Chris Jericho Report. Nathan, if you remember my question about, is there a sheep part to this gimmick? And if there is, do you believe that, Chris Jericho, will have Chris Jericho wait until this sheep person shows up in the gimmick for him to start talking?
No, because I don't think the she is a person.
You don't?
No, I think the she they're talking about is the WWE title belt. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get rid of that spinner belt because it's one of those things that only works on Cena. They've kept it around forever. It's complete retardation. So I really think that what you're going to see is it's actually going to be, a belt of some sort.
Andy, your thoughts?
I'm pretty much going along with Nathan. I think it's going to be the introduction of a new or an old style WWE championship belt, pretty much like what was big when Chris Jericho first joined the corporation before John Cena got his hands on it.
And Chris, what are your thoughts?
What they said.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, with that being said, guys, it's time to find out what you, the WGS viewers and subscribers, have to say on what Chris Jericho did tonight. You know the way to do it. Leave your comments in the comment section below or in a video response. What we want to know is, what did you think of what Chris Jericho did tonight on Monday Night Raw? And, of course, the question I asked the guys, do you believe that there's still a she part to this gimmick? And do you believe that Chris Jericho will be made to wait until this she person, whoever it could be or whatever it could be, that belongs in this gimmick, shows up for him to talk or actually do anything in the WWE? That's what we want to know from you. So for Rick on the Rick Starr's Bog Splash, for Andy, for Chris Rogers from Rockaway,
my armpits stink.
Thanks for the info. From Chris,
No problem.
Chris from Rocket Wheels.
Brought to you by Chris Rogers and Packs. Woo!
From Chris Rogers from Rocket Wheels 11294 and Nathan, I'm Double B Billy Boudreaux saying thank you very much for watching.